WRBI Batesville, Greensburg, Versailles, Brookville now presents Southeastern Indiana's longest running and most listened to sports show. It's Coach's Corner, broadcasting live from the Coach Raver Corner at Ison's Family Pizza. Listen on 103.9 FM or the WRBI app. And now you can watch the show happen live too at WRBI-TV.com or on our Facebook page. Here is the host of Coach's Corner, Coach Rob LaFerry.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Coach Ron Raver Corner of Ison's Family Pizza for tonight's edition of Coach's Corner on WRBI. I'm guest host this evening, Rob Moorhead, filling in for Coach Rob LaFerry, who's coaching a junior high basketball game for the Batesville Bulldogs this evening. We have a fantastic hour lined up this evening as we talk Indiana high school basketball. In the second half hour of our show, we will have a couple of guests that are very special to me, my two sons, Brad Moorhead and Trent Moorhead, who are both head basketball coaches at schools right here in the greater WRBI coverage area. Brad is in his first year as the head coach of the South Dearborn Knights, while Trent is beginning his fourth season at the helm of the Hauser Jets. Prior to that, in the first half hour, we have a couple of outstanding and seasoned basketball coaches joining us. Waiting in the wings to join us in the second segment of our show is the head girls basketball coach and athletic director at East Central High School, Kevin Moore. But to kick things off this evening, we welcome the longtime head coach of the Batesville boys basketball program, Coach Aaron Garrett, to the program this evening. Coach Garrett, starting your 18th year at the helm of the Batesville Bulldogs this weekend. Thank you so much for taking time to join us here on Coach's Corner.
You're welcome. We get season long time, but no, happy to be here.
That's a compliment, Coach. Long time, seasoned, successful head coaches. How's that?
So things just keep changing. I know a number of years ago we tried video for a bit, so it's cool to see that back. And no, this means basketball season around the corner. We're kicking off Coach's Corner with my appearances. I'm pumped for it.
Well, absolutely. We're glad to have you. And, Coach, I've only done this twice, okay? I've only guest hosted on Coach's Corner twice. The one common theme is both times you've been a guest, so you make me very comfortable having someone that I'm familiar with sitting in here this evening as part of the show.
Same.
Appreciate that. So, Coach, let's start with this. You graduated EIAC MVP Cade Kaiser from a squad that finished 14-10 last season in a very competitive league. But a strong nucleus returns for the Batesville Bulldogs this season. How's preseason practice been going? What's the focus as you prepare to open up at home this Saturday night against the Jacksonville Eagles?
Yeah, Coach Moorhead, we lost a big piece, right? Cade was a 2-time conference MVP. Fantastic athlete, even better person. It's been cool to watch his growth at IU in terms on the football side and just hearing the insights version of what goes on there in such a high-level, successful program. So Cade's doing awesome. As far as this Bulldog team, it's nice to have, because I've been on all levels of this, where I do have a lot of veterans back, but intermixed with those are some guys that'll be getting some varsity minutes. So I think ultimately by the end of the year, we'll have potentially people playing from all 4 grade levels, but no doubt led by a strong nucleus that's played a lot of basketball for me.
Well, Coach, let's talk about what you've learned about this group so far. What do you foresee their identity shaping up as you head in to start the season? Yeah,
and I'll go back to the summer. We had a good summer, and then into the fall, and I switched things around this fall so we get 16 practices over a course of time that we have an open window to work out, and then we can go as many as 3 times a week. So what I did is I did not go the first week at all we were able to. The first 2 weeks after that, I went once a week. Then we went twice a week until the last 2 weeks before the season, and we went 3 times a week. Just because as I looked at fall schedules, we would have the bulk of our guys after that fall. It lined up with fall breaks. After our fall break, we took that week off, so that preserved yet another week. And then we had most of our guys back. And by how things shook out in the fall season, we had 6 practices before official practice began. And I do the fall practices. We play, but I mean, it's skill work, it's drill work as well. So pretty good jump start in the season. We're not very big. What I think this Bulldog team will be, what we did this summer that proved pretty effective, is first thing I think on everybody's radar, same from last year, is we can really shoot it. Arguably, collectively, this is, I think, yet another version of and I think it could go down as the best shooting team I've had in terms of just we can put a lot of different guys out there at times. And do they all shoot at the same level? No, but I feel pretty confident right now you can't just totally leave somebody. I think teams will have to choose what they're going to do there because we have some guys that can do some things from a perimeter standpoint. We are jump stopping and pivoting to death right now, just in terms of if we get that fundamental skill down, it just opens up some more of the basketball game. And the guys are doing a great job sharing the basketball. So I'm excited to see us on the hardwood. We'll play a different pace because we're going to want a lot of pace because we want as many possessions as possible because we want to get attempts on the rim as far as especially from the 3-point range. So you'll see us. I've not pressed totally since my second year. I don't know if we'll truly get to that point, but I think we'll trend to that point more than we will. Definitely more than we will as far as just get back and get in a zone like I've done in the past as far as that defensive scheme. So offensively, it's gonna be a lot of, and I don't even mind if we take a quick shot because the guys are doing a great job of attacking the offensive glass. And we've been using the mantra as far as it takes 2 to get an offensive rebound. You may tip the ball, I may collect the offensive rebound. So the guys have really adopted that mindset really well. And
I like that.
We're generating quite a few extra possessions too.
Coach, talk about who's going to be moving into some leadership roles for you this year, because that's a key, not only in your program, but any program. Who are some of the guys you're counting on in that regard? Yeah,
some familiar names are Trenton Lewis, who was a all-conference player last year too. He's going into his 3rd year playing for me. Braden Maples played a lot of varsity basketball. He's going into his 3rd year at the varsity level. Then they have Ethan Schneider with him. Ethan played for us last year. He'll be a senior. Then Lincoln Garrett's a senior. Then you go to the junior level. We've got James Hughes and Cameron Holcomb. They played a lot for me as sophomores last year, and then they're going to be a big part of it this year as well to go along with those seniors. They are joined by Braden Hughes, and Braden's our quote-unquote big man. Now, he's not – he and Braden Maple will be our guy of size outside of a Camden Kaiser who's a sophomore for us, but Braden he plays bigger than he is. So he really does he's got a knack around the basket as far as getting offensive boards, really hustling and getting defensive boards. So those are our juniors and seniors mix. And then as we go down the roster, guys I think that will split some quarters. And I've always maximized quarter, and I always use Cole Pry as an example. I think Cole's got a chance before he ends at Rose Hallman. I think he's got a chance of getting some I'm not going to limit him. I think he could have some All-American honors potentially. And he was playing JV basketball for me as a junior in terms of a quarter, just to maximize those 5 quarters for the best of the individual, but more so the best for the program. So you'll see a Levi Hunt, Winston Garrett, Camden Kaiser as sophomores. And I think Hank Bowman will be in the mix as a freshman in terms as what I've seen out of them so far. I think as we go through, you'll see it being very fluid, where I don't even know yet Saturday exactly how I'll split those quarters. I just know we'll maximize those young guys quite a bit and get them some very important reps at the JV level that will help their learning curve on the varsity level, because they're doing some things. It's just a matter of at what varsity speed can they truly play, and maybe because that's the whole thing as far as the way I want to play, what kind of depth do we truly have, right? I feel really good right now at about 6 and 7. Can we get to that 8th and 9th and feel really good about it? Because if we can, then that really changes the game too, in terms of we can just keep shuffling guys in and out in terms of that pressure, offensively and defensively. So even as we give up a basket, we want to go the other way as fast as we can to put pressure on the rim as they get back. And just by the end of the game, that fourth quarter, is our depth and conditioning starting to win out over the opponent.
Coach, knowing you as I do, you don't want to spend a lot of time on this, and we won't, but I heard a couple of young men's names on there with the last name Garrett. What's it like for you having your son in the program?
It changes by the minute or the day. But no, it's a blessing without question. And let me go to my coaching staff real quick too. We lose Coach Allen, which in a perfect world I would have kept Coach Allen and added a Clint Bowman. But I am blessed with Blaine Gellert and Jay Gherkin back going into, I know Jay's up to 12 or 13 years with us. Blaine, I think, is reaching double digits now too. So we have some stability. But then as far as father-son, Clint Bowman stepped down at Jackson Dell because his son was going to be in high school basketball, and he didn't want to miss his games. So when things happened with Coach Allen going onward and upward in his professional career, it provided a chance to bring in an experienced coach and Coach Bowman. So now we're both comparing notes at times in terms of, and as I've talked to Hank, and I try to keep this promise myself, the basketball will stay in the gym, the home will stay at the home. We're not going to talk hoops at home. We're not going to bust your chops about your dirty room in the gym, right? So it's fun because, and you've experienced this, they've been around. I mean, I can remember some of my players holding the boys when they're babies, right? So they've been around the program that entire time, and now to see Lincoln's group be seniors, Winston's group as sophomores, to see them as truly part of it, but more so just because you know how much time this takes. I've lost a lot of time over the years where when they were younger, I didn't seem awake during the winter season much, right? So now to be able to still spend all this time in something I really enjoy doing, but also to have them be part of it, I try to make myself stop and reflect at times to make sure I don't let it go by too quickly. We're already several practices deep in this, and now once games start, you know how quickly these seasons will go, and the journey will be over.
Absolutely. Coach, let me go a different direction, then we'll come back and finish up with some more about this year's Bulldogs. But I want to talk about an event you had over the weekend, one of my favorite things that you do, which is Garrett's Gang. And for those who don't know, it's a camp you have with Special Olympic athletes. You have your players involved in that camp. For those who may not be familiar with it, talk about that and how that day works for you.
Rob, it's my favorite day. And I heard something recently. In the UAE, they call them PODs, P-O-Ds.
Okay.
So we use handicap, we use disabilities. I've always said they have special abilities, but I saw this in the UAE. They call them people of determination. I thought that was such a great way to frame it because everything they do takes great determination. So to have my guys experience that, and for the second year in a row, Coach Taylor's women's program helped us out.
Oh, great.
And that just brings a whole different vibe. So literally, if you can see our Ox Gym, between the campers, which we had a little over 30, plus the men and women's players, we have over 70 kids just having a great day.
Yeah.
Right? And I challenge the boys and girls players because everybody would love to be what they're doing, right? They're out there playing basketball. They're the face of their communities, and they get those cheers. The kids that we had camp for on Saturday, I challenged them to make this the best 2 hours we can for them because they bring, and what I love about that group is they bring nothing but pure joy. You've been around them. A lot of the South Ripley kids come over. And now through 11 different years, I've seen a lot of them grow up.
Absolutely.
And their families have become very close to me. So I can't look forward to it enough. And then in January, we bring them to our home game. The roof might as well blow off the gym because the fan, and now even the opponents of the North Decatur and Franklin County fans, it's those games every other year. I mean, it's just a special, special night. And it's all because of those kids. And Nick Jacobs, who I love, he's a Batesville kid. And he's, I I said, hey, Nick, it's so good to see you. And right away, it's so good to see you too. This is my favorite day. I'm like, Nick, you have no idea how it's my favorite day too.
Gotta love that.
And just the humor, the personalities, it's a magical day.
Well, thank you for what you do in that regard. And it's such a great thing. And I know your players get a lot out of it. The community gets a lot out of it. Now you personally get a lot out of it just as much as those campers do. So, Coach, let's jump right back in and talk about the Bulldogs a little bit more. After Saturday night's game, you're going to jump right back into the EIAC Fire. You'll be heading over to take on your rival, the Greensburg Pirates. I know it's too soon to discuss specifics, but these games between Batesville and Greensburg are always must-see events. I would assume this year will be no different.
Yeah, and that whole December slate, right? Jacksonville, we saw them this summer a little bit. Those kids will play hard, and Coach Smith's at the helm now. Obviously, he has plenty of experience. Then you get to Greensburg, they return a lot, and then it's Lawrenceburg. Right, Southwestern Hanover. Then you get to Milan, who will be, I think they'll be much improved this year with their experience back.
I would agree with that.
East Central with their shooters. And then pretty quickly, we got South Ripley right before break, and then you're into the Batesville tournament and the Ripley County tournament. So when I say it'll go fast, we'll be in the middle of January like that, again against Greensburg when it counts for the conference, because we played them twice, we play East Central twice. So it's always a fun game. We'll be at Greensburg here in December this year. And it's always a special game. I know both kids really look forward to that game in terms of it's the rivalry. And then it gets busy. And that's when we talked about earlier as far as the seniors. Don't blink, because once these games start rolling, man, it goes very quickly.
Well, Coach Garrett, any final thoughts you want to share about the 25-26 edition of the Batesville Bulldogs before opening night? No,
it's just a really, really good group. Enjoy them as young men. It's going to be fun to see their maturation and continued growth through the course of the season. So I know we'll talk a lot about them as we go week to week, but it's always special to sit right here, and it's cool to be with you. I know Coach LaFerry's done a good job in the falls. I've heard his shows, but we're in the Ron Raver room, right? So I know you miss Coach Raver dearly.
Absolutely.
Whenever I come back here, I always think of Coach Raver. So I'm just thankful that WRBI is taking things to another level. But that this show continues, because it's not very many communities the size of Batesville, Indiana, has this show, and then how we reach out to southeastern Indiana. It's just very, very special. I never take that for granted.
We apologize to the viewers. You got a couple of bald guys here and maybe one more coming up right afterwards. So it is what it is. You know, we got faces for radio, but we're on TV now too, Coach. So.
I was going to use that line earlier, but I forgot. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Coach Garrett, thank you so much for your time this evening. Good luck to you and the Bulldogs.
Absolutely. Always good seeing you.
We'll take a quick time out and be back with more of Coach's Corner, brought to you by Ison's Family Pizza on Country 103.9 WRBI, WRBI-TV.com, and the WRBI radio app.
This year, make sure your home can handle the joy and the mess. From fingerprint-resistant refrigerators to dishwashers that make cleanup easy, Whirlpool appliances are built for real life. Spend your time making memories, not scrubbing dishes. Right now, find holiday savings on Whirlpool appliances at Garing's in Batesville. We'll deliver, install, and haul away your old for free. A gift for your kitchen is a gift for everyone. Visit Garing's at 316 North Main in Batesville or online at garinginc.com.
When you schedule an annual wellness visit with your Decatur County Memorial Hospital primary care provider, you can receive the most up-to-date report on the status of your health. Your family medicine provider's care is a fundamental to staying well and catching problems early. Routine preventative care can help save your life. Schedule an appointment with your DCMA's provider today.
Back to more Coach's Corner with Rob LaFerry, delivered by Ison's Family Pizza on 103.9 FM. Streaming audio on the WRBI app and with video on our Facebook page and at WRBI-TV.com.
And welcome back to Coach Ron Raver Corner, located inside Ison's Family Pizza for this week's episode of Coach's Corner. Once again, I'm Rob Moorhead, guest hosting for Rob LaFerry this evening. And joining the show at this time is the head girls basketball coach and the athletic director at East Central High School, Coach Kevin Moore. Coach Moore, thanks for joining us tonight.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Rob.
Coach, before we get into talking girls basketball, I want to just take a minute to say thank you for all the hospitality you provide throughout the football season. My partner Jerry Stanger and I really enjoy coming over and broadcasting East Central High School football on Country 103.9 WRBI. You always take great care of us. And, Coach, for the second year in a row, it looks like it probably took the 5A state champs to be able to knock the East Central Trojans out of the state playoffs after moving up to Class 5A. Another fantastic season for Coach Miners and the Trojans.
Yeah, based on paper, it certainly looks like, the state champion ended our year again, like you said. So I know Coach's, I think his hangover's over by now in terms of the losing hangover.
Yeah,
but
it's tough.
He did a great job with those kids for sure.
Decatur Central got him last year, went on to win the state, and then New Pal gets him this year. And what was probably New Pal's most closely contested game of the year, 6-6 with about 8 minutes to go, and then a couple quick touchdowns by the Dragons put it away. But I think they're probably the favorite going into this weekend, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think 2 touchdown favorite from what I saw.
Yeah. Very good. Well, Coach, let's talk about Lady Trojan Hoops. You're in your 17th season at the helm of the East Central Trojans girls basketball program. You've captured 4 sectional championships during that time. What's the secret to your longevity and success with the program?
Just as long as you coach, same thing here. It's just, it doesn't get old, like the grind. You have to enjoy the Saturday morning youth games just as much as you enjoy the Friday night varsity games.
Exactly.
The relationships that you build over the years with kids when you start seeing them in your youth programs all the way down to the 3rd grade. And then, I've got 3 former players as assistant coaches. So that kind of makes things come full circle. And when you first start as a 26-year-old head coach, you don't think ahead like, what am I going to be doing in 17 years? And it's been a great ride, and I certainly don't see it ending anytime soon. I enjoy going to practice every day as much as I do going to the games. So. And
you and the athletic director have a pretty good relationship right now.
Yeah. Thankfully, my wife is a fantastic lady that allows me to do both.
I love that. Well, Coach, you're off to a fantastic start this season. You've got the Trojans with a perfect 5-0 record right now. What have you learned about your team throughout these early contests?
Yeah, I thought we had a great summer coming off that sectional championship, and we were extremely young and still quite frankly are young. So what we've learned is we've got a group of competitive kids that really like to get after it, on the defensive end. And when you can get kids to buy in with the style of defense that we like to play, it certainly can create offense with the number of deflections we get and the forced turnovers. And as deep as we are, allows us to play that style as well. And we're playing 9 and 10 kids. When you're fortunate enough to do that, you can get up and go. And I don't think teams that have as much depth as us want to play at that pace.
Yeah. Coach, what's the biggest growth areas you've seen in your team so far, as opposed to maybe what you saw in the preseason or even in the summer?
Ball security. If you want to play fast, and we do, being able to take care of the basketball is important. We want to get out and we want to run, but we also, in the half court, you got to play in space. We talk about pace and then space. So playing with pace in the full court transition game, but then playing within our space and half court. When you've got a bunch of mentally geared kids that want to get downhill at all times, I don't want to put a leash on that, but at the same time, being a little bit more patient, it's been encouraging to see.
Who's playing well and leading your team here throughout these first 5 games of the season so far?
Yeah, it kind of starts with the point guard, Natalie Stinger, sophomore. She's averaging right around 19 points a game. I think she's 5th in the state in steals, just kind of based on what we do and how she plays on the ball and then in the passing lanes. Maybe the most competitive kid I've ever coached, and that's daily. Like, she hates losing a shooting game in practice, let alone a game that we play. So that's a fun kid to coach. And then Lily Maple, a freshman, she's our 2nd leading scorer, right around 12, 13 points a game. She's shooting 81% from the field right now.
Oh, so wow.
We've been honored. She's only, taken 30-something shots. I'm thinking if I'm shooting 87%, I'm probably going to take more. But
put it up.
Being a freshman, I think she's been trying to figure out where she kind of fits into this. But we've got a group of older kids that have certainly given her the confidence. And in the last 2 games, she's certainly been more aggressive offensively. After that, we got some holdover juniors that were a part of that team last year: Audrina Dugan, Kaylee Meadows, and Tegan Ligaber. They're great role players. They do really great things in terms of what they're able to do. Tegan last year had a game where she had 21 rebounds. She's our leading rebounder this year. Kind of anchors our back end of our press, controls the paint protection, and kind of gets people in the right direction. And then Dugan and Meadows, both of those kids, they've gone for 17, 18 points, and Meadows for 15 on Saturday. So those are kids that if defenses want to gear their defense towards Natalie and Lily, those are kids that are able to score the basketball for us in a variety of ways. And then we've got a couple of kids coming off the bench that Sydney Campbell, a transfer, and Tatum Johnson, a senior, that provide us sparks. Tatum is a perimeter player that comes in and knocks down three when we need it. She won us a sectional, to be honest, last year, I thought, with the way she played. And then Sydney coming in as a transfer in this new era, it's, we've got a pretty extensive playbook in terms of what we try to run, and we switch everything defensively. So that was a little bit of an adjustment for her. But 5 games in, I thought she had a great Saturday up at Pike, and looks way more comfortable. So that's kind of our top 7. Then we've got some depth with Gabby Cleary, Maria Mayer, and Nevaeh Tudor.
Coach, you got a pretty tough slate of games coming up. You've got Greensburg, South Ripley, Jennings County. Each of those teams only has 1 loss on the season. Columbus North, then, who's currently undefeated. What challenges do you foresee as you look forward to that set of opponents?
Yeah, no, it certainly is a step of a competition considering, the first 5 games of the year. But, this summer is kind of where we laid that foundation. We went out and played Brownsburg. We went and played Homestead. We played Pike. So, while that might still be in June, it also allowed our kids to see some top-level competition and give them that confidence and see how we were able to, put our team together and what roles they could play. So, we, as any coach will tell you, you're trying to put one game at a time.
Amen.
Here. And obviously Wednesday's a big one with Greensburg. Between them and us, we have won the last 8 conference championships. So the winner of that game has essentially won the conference. So it's an early season game, but it's certainly a very important game.
Coach, we look ahead. You're about a month away, but talk about the Donna Cheatham Holiday Classic that you're going to be playing in. I believe that's in Scottsburg on December 29th and 30th. Tell us a little bit about that tournament.
Yeah, we were down there, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago when we had Hope Fox and Josie Trable, Laney Baker. It gave us an opportunity to try to go around to different parts of the state to maybe get our kids recognized, see different top teams around the state. And Jamie Lowry at Scottsburg, their AD, does a great job just knowing him, networking with athletic directors, probably similar to you in your line of work. So
absolutely.
It gives us an opportunity to maybe get away and have a little bit of team connection in terms of staying overnight. So there's some really good teams in there. Columbus North, there's a chance we'll play them 3 times this season.
Wow.
We play Madison in the year they're down there, Brownstown Central, and we would never otherwise play them. So it's a chance to connect with coaches that you see out in the summer, and then get an opportunity to let our kids play against different teams.
Yeah, it seems like these holiday tournaments have really become popular, and that can be a long stretch of practices if you don't have something to break it up. And I think these holiday tournaments are a great idea.
They are, and we had one a few years ago when I wasn't the AD, so just knowing Donnie the way that I do, I'm glad he took on that, because it is a lot of work too.
Yeah.
So for these schools that are able to host these tournaments, we really appreciate that.
Coach, how do you feel about the culture and chemistry so far, 5 games in with your group this year? That has so much to do with success, as you well know.
Yeah, sustaining success, it is all about culture. And I think in the line of work that we're in coaching, it's such a high turnover rate anymore. So culture, it certainly can be faked if you don't build it the right way. And you go into a locker room and see all these posters, and culture isn't a word on a poster. It's the stuff that you build every day, all year long, to be completely honest. And just the daily standards and expectations that we have as a staff for our kids and ourselves, and then the kids have for themselves and each other. That's the culture. As an example, like on Saturday mornings, we have our youth program. We call it the Future Trojans League. And in the last 2 Saturdays, we had games later in the afternoon, evening. Most of our varsity and JV kids are there. Yeah. And they don't have to be there, and they're there to watch the younger kids, because the younger kids come to watch them for their varsity games. And that, to me, is just a small example of what our culture is about.
Absolutely, that's great, and what a way to build the program. I mean, that's what it takes.
Yeah, and you hear, I'm standing behind the basket in a 5th grade game, and they're warming up, and we've got our senior banners on the back wall. And when I hear them say, "I can't wait to have my banner up there one day," and, those are the cool moments as a coach.
Coach, you heard Coach Garrett talk about it a few minutes ago. The basketball season just seems to fly by. Once you're past the holiday break, sectionals right around the corner, and girls basketball as you're playing in the first week of February. Always a tough field in that Class 4A sectional. It's over at Columbus East this year. You've got Columbus North, Franklin, Columbus East, and Whiteland make up the 5-team field there along with yourselves. Looking at current records, it appears Columbus North and Franklin are off to good starts this season. What do you know right now? And you're probably not even worried about that necessarily, but looking at that field, take another tough effort to repeat as sectional champions.
Yeah, for sure. And we're now the hunted. Last year we were kind of under the radar, and we were fortunate enough to win that one. So, all of those teams are really well coached. Mike Armstrong's been doing it forever at Franklin, and Brett White at Columbus North. So, you mentioned those two teams right off the bat, and they bring back a lot. And we beat both of those teams in the sectional, so I'm sure that's some bulletin board material.
Sure.
And there's a lot that can transpire before now in February in terms of roles and unfortunate potential injuries, things of that nature. But, we're tracking in a really good direction. I think we've got a lot of depth and a lot of growth still ahead of us in terms of what we're able to do as well.
Coach, another topic here. I know it's been about a month or so ago you lost one of your former assistant coaches in Coach Mark Sandman. How long was Coach Sandman with the program, and what has his passing meant in your program?
Yeah, no. So Mark, when I took over 17 years ago, he was the first call that I made. He was my varsity assistant for 8 or 9 years. He came a big part of my life and a point in my life that I needed somebody like him, and it certainly impacted me and a lot of our former players and current and former coaches. He was a great man in terms of being able to just compartmentalize a lot of things and slow things down and appreciate and make you appreciate just the small things. I can't tell you the number of texts that I got from former players just checking on me when it should have been the other way around, to be completely honest. But that kind of showed the impact that he had on a lot of people, and we certainly miss Mark.
It's hard for people who haven't been in the business to understand just how important good, trustworthy, knowledgeable assistant coaches are, and especially those that are close friends and confidants.
Yeah, well, and then just can create those relationships with kids, because at times you as the head coach, you're the bad guy at times, and you need to have assistant coaches that can be there to be the voice of reason at times for those kids, and he certainly was a great man for that role.
Very good. Well, Coach, any final thoughts you want us to share about Lady Trojan basketball as we get ready to wrap up this evening?
No, just come on out and support us. It's a good brand of basketball. We're off to a 5-0 start, like you said, ranked 9th in the state in 4A poll. So we don't have a lot of home games this year. It must be the AD's fault. But for the ones that we do, we enjoy people come out and watch us. And good luck to everybody else in southeastern Indiana.
See what you can do about that AD, would you?
Yeah.
Coach Moore, thank you very much for joining us. Good luck
Thanks,
to you and the Lady Trojans this season. We'll be seeing you down the road. We'll take another quick time out, and we'll be back with more of Coach's Corner, brought to you by Ison's Family Pizza on Country 103.9 WRBI, WRBI-TV.com, and the WRBI radio app.
When it comes to you and your family's health, finding a primary care provider you can trust makes all the difference. At Margaret Mary Health, our providers aren't just here for you when you're sick. They're dedicated to being your long-term partners in health. If you're looking for a medical provider to help keep your family well, give us a call or visit us online. Our primary care providers are accepting new patients in Batesville, Brookville, Osgood, and Milan. Margaret Mary Health. Generations of care.
Ison's Family Pizza is looking to add a few new faces to our team. Cecil here. The positions open include shift manager, full and part-time driver, and back of the house. Applications are available at the front counter. Resumes can be sent to isonsfamilypizza@yahoo.com. We are trying to fill shift manager, part-time driver, and back of the house. Apply to work at Batesville's Best Pizza today. Ison's Family Pizza, 117 East George Street, downtown Batesville.
Coach's Corner with Rod LaFerry continues. Watch us live on WRBI-TV.com or on our Facebook page, and hear us live on the WRBI app and 103.9 FM. WRBI.
Welcome back to the Coach Ron Raver Corner here at Ison's Family Pizza for this week's episode of Coach's Corner on WRBI. I'm Rob Moorhead, guest hosting the show this evening, and joining the show at this time are two very special guests for yours truly. We have the head basketball coach of the South Dearborn Knights, Brad Moorhead, joining us, and the fourth-year boss of the Hauser Jets, Trent Moorhead, with us tonight. Thanks so much for making the trip to Batesville tonight, gentlemen.
Absolutely. Wouldn't want to disappoint you, Dad. Glad to be here.
Appreciate that.
Thank you for having us on. I think we're both excited.
We are.
Well, let's start with this. Both of you are now head basketball coaches. When did you first know you wanted to coach? Brad, I'm going to start with you.
I didn't know right away. I mean, I always loved basketball, of course, and, growing up playing it. And some of my earliest memories are being at your basketball camps when you were leading South Dearborn. But it wasn't until my third year of college when I decided, like, let's be a teacher, let's be a coach, let's do this, because that just felt like it was calling to me, that I just needed to do that, make that a career path. So I got involved at Edgewood, and the rest was kind of history after that.
Trent, same question.
Yeah, I think definitely in high school. Like seeing you and Mom around the school, I think Brad and I both, coaching's in our background, but teaching as well. Like wanted to be a teacher, want to be able to have relationships with students and, be a part of, helping mold young minds in the classroom. And then knowing that you can do basketball and coach as well. Seeing the path that you and Paul, our grandfather, had as well, and hearing all the stories growing up about his sectional championship teams, the 95 sectional championship team at South Dearborn. It just gives you a passion that I think Brad and I both felt. And so early in high school, knew that teaching and coaching was going to be good for me. And then Brad was kind of making the same decision at IU right as I was coming out of high school. So Brad and I being able to work together at Edgewood, coaching together on a middle school team was just an awesome start. And the rest is history.
That's a Coach Moorhead trivia piece, like about the family. Like that, our first coaching job I was the head coach of the 7th grade Edgewood Mustangs, and Trent was my assistant.
I like that. That's a good trivia question. Yeah. And Trent, you kind of went down a path I wanted to go. How much did hearing stories of the old coach, my dad, your grandfather, Indiana Basketball Hall of Famer Gus Moorhead, how much did that influence your decision at all?
It definitely plays a part in it, because you just know that it's in your blood and that it's something that you'd probably be good at if you worked at it, and the fact that there are so many resources in your family to ask about it too, and just like Trent said, I mean, the stories about it, and the lore of a community rallying around a basketball team, and the fact that you can like lead that and help influence kids at that level was just, I don't know, yeah, it was something that I think both felt like we needed to do.
Yeah. Go ahead, Trent.
I just think of the pictures, seeing the pictures of the Versailles Lions, the teams, and add that in with hearing the stories. All just really special, and it means a lot.
Well, let me go here with that. Your grandfather taught through a lot of poems and sayings and stories. Have you ever found yourself using any of those, either one of you yet, with your teams?
Yeah, we you can ask the Hauser Jets on the second practice of the year. I'll go through the Indispensable Man poem just as a reminder that nobody's bigger than the program, that Hauser basketball is going to continue on long after we're all gone, and our job is to leave it better than we found it and put our egos to the side and work hard every day to like I said, leave it better than we found it and make a lasting impression.
I like that. How about you, Brad? Have you had a chance to throw any of those in yet?
We're still pretty early, but I have a feeling I'll need to use. I hate the guys who criticize and minimize the other guys whose enterprise has helped them rise above the guys who criticize and minimize the other guys.
Write that one down. Always a good one. I want to go back to something you said a minute ago, Brad. Back when you two were both undergrads at IU, you had the chance to coach junior high basketball together at Edgewood. Ever think back then that you'd both end up being head coaches, and are there any good stories from that time together that either one of you would want to share?
I'll start on that. I feel like I do a good job now of making sure I let my assistants at the end of post-game speeches or anytime we're addressing the team, hey, Coach, do you have anything you want to add? Because I remember being pretty frustrated when Brad would maybe pass over the commentary from the assistant coach, who had some great ideas for the 7th grade Edgewood Mustangs.
He did. We were down like 2 points at the end of in the back gym at Owen Valley, and had Trent draw up a set, see if we're it was live play, and then they got down the floor. It's like, you know what? We're just gonna let them play it out. And the shot got up, and Trent just has this set drawn up. Didn't get to use.
Just a
what are
quick
you doing?
Out, Coach is all we needed, and let me draw it up.
Just went with my instincts, I guess.
There you go. Go ahead.
We got better. That was that group improved a lot, and it was a lot of fun. Brad was teaching already at that point. I was still a student at IU, so I would always get to come over at the end of the day and kind of watch the last period of him teaching, and we had some fun. It was just a neat space for me to interact with Brad and seeing him as a professional. But then us going to the gym together after school and making practice plans and having to interact, where I feel like for the most of our upbringing, we were always fighting with one another, being competitive, and having to join forces. It was really fun. So
it was.
Yeah.
It was a really cool time.
Great experiences to look back on, I'm sure, as well. So, Brad, a couple of questions for you here. Let's talk about your first year as head coach of the South Dearborn Knights. What have been the biggest adjustments stepping into that head coaching role so far?
Maybe the biggest thing that you don't realize just because you're just sliding down a chair, like being an assistant to the head coach, you're sliding down a chair, and sometimes it means you're standing up the whole game, which is what I'll probably do. But
and to interrupt for a second, for those who don't know, your most recent job was JV basketball coach at Martinsville.
Yes.
So you've been in that assistant chair, also many years as JV coach at Edgewood. So you've been that assistant. So go ahead with your comment.
Just how many day-to-day decisions you have to make as the leader of a program like that. Everything falls to your shoulders, as it should. Like, I want to be the person making those decisions, but just there's every day, whether it be just what are we going to do in practice, or kid wants to know what to do with this dollar amount that he's bringing in for his fundraiser, what logo were we putting on the gear, just all of those things. What gym are we going to be practicing in? Things that I maybe took for granted, that I just got to show up and the practice plan was done, and I just did my job as an assistant, help scout, and get out. There's a lot more responsibility, but that's what you sign up for when you're being a head coach. So I'm excited to take on those responsibilities.
So, Brad, we kind of referenced earlier that you are in the same job I had about 30 years ago as head basketball coach at South Dearborn. I'm sure that comes with some pros and cons. What has been the best part of that experience so far, and also what has maybe been a little frustrating for you, knowing that you're following a job that I had?
Well, it's really cool that I'm going to be standing on the same sideline that you did as the leader of the program, and potentially wearing some of the same neckties over time as we pass
them down.
Yeah, as we pass those things down. Like that's really cool. Especially with you being the last coach to win a sectional at South Dearborn, maybe that adds a little bit of pressure to it, especially with a talented group that we have. But again, that's welcome pressure. If there's pressure, that means people expect things out of you. So that's a good thing. Mainly, for the most part, all the people that are at least coming up to me to talk about you always have good things to say, which makes me feel good. I mean, the people that don't probably wouldn't come up and tell them to me
anyway.
anyway.
Come up and tell you, but trust me, they're there. I could give you a list right now.
Yeah. Well, if you don't have any critics, you're not doing your job right either.
Right.
That means you're just trying to make everybody happy, and that's not the way to be a good leader.
We're going to give you both a chance to talk about specifics with players and so forth, but still on the generalities here, Brad, what do you want the identity of South Dearborn basketball to be under your leadership?
What I am trying to stress, and I would hope if my team was sitting in here and I said, what is our identity going to be, they would yell back to me that it's defense. That day in, day out, game in, game out, you don't know if your jump shot's going to travel with you. You don't know who's going to be the leading scorer on any given night. But you do know that you can control how hard you play on defense. And that is such an effort and such a want to, that we want to be known as, we play South Dearborn this weekend. It's going to be hard defensively. Like they're going to be in our grill. They're going to be pressuring us. They're going to be talking so much. So I want us to play hard-nosed basketball, both sides of the floor, but especially on defense, being known for that.
I like it. Trent, let's turn over to you now. You're in your fourth season at the helm of the Hauser Jets. What have been some of the biggest lessons you've learned running your own program over the past 3 seasons?
Yeah, I think just Brad alluded to it at the beginning, talking about the day-to-day grind, and you have to be willing to show up every day. Two guys who can't have a bad day are the head coach and the point guard. So just bringing the same energy and passion every single day, not letting yesterday's practice or the result of the past game affect the attitude that you're going to have. I think learning that positivity wins, and a positive leadership is something that a lot of guys respond well to, and we try to emphasize that every day. But it's just been really cool to see, getting to year 3 and into year 4 now, just watching guys grow and mature, and learning about how to develop them, and seeing seniors who have now graduated and go off and be successful in what they're doing. It's all just been really special. It's been a cool ride, and we're fortunate to have such an awesome community. So learning the ins and outs of the community you're in, and Hope is a special basketball place, and we're fortunate to have, I think, maybe the best home court atmosphere and the best traveling crowd. I'd put ours up against any school in Indiana, what the Hauser faithful do. And it's just been really fun to be a part of. I feel like I learn something new every day as a head coach, but it's great to have a support system like we do with you, and with Brad here now as a head coach. I've been really fortunate and lucky to have people in my corner who have helped me learn and grow throughout the last 4 years.
Trent, you've had great success with the Jets. Let's go to last year. You posted 24-4 record, captured a sectional championship, a regional championship, not to mention a conference championship as well. What are you taking from last year's successful season to give your guys momentum going into the 25-26 campaign?
Yeah, I think not putting anything ahead of the next game on the schedule. I think we got to 24-4 last year by making the next game on the schedule the most important. So when we showed up to Martinsville for the regional against Indianapolis Lutheran, we had the same preparation level that we had for, the 10th game of the season or a holiday tournament game. I think that's been really important for us to have the success that we've had. The preparation, the work, all the stuff that goes into each individual game is what's going to allow you to be successful. The work is done by the time you show up to the game. We've been really big on that and not trying to put atmospheres and moments, let that, encapsulate anything more than, hey, it's just a basketball game. And I think that's really helped us be successful in big time atmospheres that we were very fortunate to play in and that we hope to continue to be able to play in moving forward with this year's group.
Trent, a similar question to what I asked Brad. What do you feel is the identity of the Hauser Jets under Coach Moorhead's leadership?
Yeah, Brad stole my answer. Maybe it's from all the communication we've had this offseason. But, I think we've made defense a staple of the program. We were 41 points per game last year. I think that was good for 11th in the state. We have made it every fiber of our being that our defense is going to be what brings us to victory, no matter whether the offense shows up as well. Like Brad said, if you can't always control whether your jump shot's going in, you can control how hard you defend, how well you communicate, how well you buy into the scouting report and learn the ins and outs of the opponent you're playing. That's allowed us to be successful. And I think we've really bought into the 84 for 32 mentality. We're going to defend 84 feet of the floor, and it's going to be from start to finish, 32 full minutes of the game. And that's been a really fun way to play and to coach. And you have to have guys that buy into that. And we're fortunate for the last 3 years, these guys have bought into it and have wanted that to carry them. And it's led to some really cool performances. And it can't change this year. We've got to be the same team, and that's what we've been building towards all offseason.
Well, I know your grandfather used to say the best defense is a good offense, so he'd probably still be pleased with how you guys are approaching it. But no, I say that in jest. But he liked to get it up and down the floor. He also said if you pass 3 times, you're stalling. So he wanted to get the ball up and down the floor and score points. Brad, I'm going to throw one more at you before we take our first break, and that is you went to the dark side for a couple of years, and that is you became an official. For a young guy, you had a pretty heavy varsity basketball slate, doing, I believe, 18 games one year of girls and boys varsity basketball. How did that experience as a referee help you as a coach?
It makes you respect that side of the ball a lot more. Before I get on an official, I think about how I would have reacted or how maybe I would want to be approached in that situation, and just having to know all the rules of the game and how they should be applied is both a blessing and a curse, because if you see them applied how they shouldn't be, that's very frustrating. But it made me a better coach just strategically, things that I've been teaching, like, hey, if we do it this way, then a referee might see this happen, things like that. And just knowing how most referees like to be approached, I think is a huge advantage. So it made me see the game from a totally different side, but it is one that it's an experience I'm really glad that I've had.
Trent, have you ever clipped up a portion of one of your games and send it to Brad and say, hey, did this ref get this right or not? Did you ever use that experience?
More than once, yeah. We've done that a lot, and yes. I still will moving forward. Brad's got a great knowledge of the rule book, and I try to be mindful in my interactions with officials from Brad's experience on that side. So it's been really good for us, both even just learning that, there's a reason there's a shortage of officials, and a lot of time it's conduct between coaches, players, and we try to be respectful of that. And but yeah, Brad's been a good one to rely on for a snippet where you think we got screwed on that call, so I'm going to send this to Brad. And more often than not, Brad will back the official's call, which always frustrates me.
I can understand that.
And I would be wrong to not mention the mentorship I got from Lance Ringler to become an official, to even put the stripes on in the first place. And it was Lance that took the chance and said, "No, Brad, you need to start working varsity right now, because you're not going to get better if you just get in the cycle at the lower levels." So for him to take a chance on me and thought that I would be good enough to do that gave me a lot of confidence. And he is one of the most knowledgeable officials that I've ever come in contact with, and has done girls state finals games and has moved way up the ranks, and hasn't gone as far as I think that he should. I think he should be in a rotation for a state every year, but Lance really helped me out, so I'm really appreciative for him for that.
I agree. Lance is the best. Lance is also on our game tomorrow night, so Lance, if you listen to this, you are the best.
Perfect. That's a good spot for a break. Let's take a quick timeout. We'll be back with more of our conversation with Coaches Brad and Trent Moorhead here on Coach's Corner. Brought to you by Ison's Family Pizza on Country 103.9 WRBI, WRBI-TV.com, and the WRBI radio app.
We don't sell you cars, we help you buy them.
Fleetwood Chevrolet at 950 North Michigan Avenue in Greensburg invites you to visit them. They're here to help you with your next new or pre-owned vehicle purchase, as well as all your service and parts needs. They're the home of Greensburg's only drive-in service lane and free oil changes for life with the purchase of a new vehicle. Give them an opportunity to earn your business at Fleetwood Chevrolet.
We don't sell you cars, we help you buy them.
When looking for the highest standard of HVAC service and care, turn to Hurt & Elko, your local Lennox Premier dealer. Hurt & Elko and their Premier dealer status means you're certain to be working with a company who has the highest level of training, professionalism, and customer satisfaction. For a limited time, they're offering up to $1,900 in rebates on a brand new Lennox system or finance with low monthly payments. Call Hurt & Elko today at 812-934-4646 or visit them online at hurt-elko.com to learn more. Conditions apply. See dealer for details.
It's Coach's Corner with Rob LaFerry, delivered by Ison's Family Pizza. Listen on 103.9 FM and the WRBI app, and watch on our Facebook page or at WRBI-TV.com.
And welcome back to Coach Ron Raver Corner, located inside Ison's Family Pizza for this week's episode of Coach's Corner. I'm Rob Moorhead, guest hosting tonight, joined at this time and here in our second segment by my favorite coaches in all of Southeast Indiana, my sons Brad Moorhead and Trent Moorhead, or CM3 and CM4 as I like to call them. Let's start with that. One of you jump in and explain the story of the nicknames, and the second one can jump in and talk about what we'll call our permanent way to honor those nicknames. Who wants to take that?
Sure, I'll start. So I'm CM3, Trent is CM4, and that is short for Coach Moorhead III and the fourth, as we're seated next to Coach Moorhead II here, CM2, and our grandfather, of course, Indiana Basketball Hall of Famer Gus Moorhead, is CM1, the original. And those nicknames were given to us just... If you don't follow Rob Moorhead on Twitter, you probably should. He's a great follow on Twitter. But he would see our scores or travel to our games, take pictures, and update his Twitter account, he would tag the post with CM3. Got to watch CM3 tonight. Go Mustangs. We got to watch CM4. Go Grizzly Cubs. Whatever it was in the beginning of our career. So we just really like those nicknames, and they stuck. So Trent, you want to take us from there?
Yeah, I think as Brad put it at one point, what do any 20-year-olds who are really passionate about something? And at that point, we were passionate about coaching, and the nicknames we thought were cool. And I will give Brad credit on the idea of how we were going to make the nickname stick, and that we would get it tattooed on our biceps. And that's what 20-somethings do when they're passionate about something. You get it tattooed on your bicep. Brad had some experience in that, a little bit ahead of me, so he was willing to push me into it. But looking back on it was so cool, the experience of that. And I remember the day we were unveiling them to you and just being really excited but nervous on what's the response going to be from Dad. But lo and behold, he thought it was pretty cool, and I think he still does, because now we're all wearing long sleeves, unfortunately. But even CM2 has the bicep tattoo, so we're all marked as Coach Moorheads for life, and I think it's something we're all very proud of.
My problem is I've got the tattoo. I don't have the biceps. You guys have the biceps to go with them.
There's some pictures that might show otherwise. Just ask him if you want to see them.
Just ask him.
We'll pop that thing up there.
Total Gym's a great machine.
There you go. You got to love the Total Gym. Hey, you both open up tomorrow night. Brad, talk about what you're hoping to see out of the Knights as you open at home against Rising Sun.
Absolutely. So starting off with that, before I get into what I really want to see, one of the things that we're going to do, so if you're in the area, would love to have you for the home opener. We're going to honor Coach Bob Finnegan at the in between games there. We're going to have Coach Finnegan's family, Mary Jo, Andy, Casey, and other family are going to be there, and we're going to do a presentation between the games, because Coach Bob Finnegan was the very first head coach at South Dearborn, and he won the first boys basketball sectional championship in 1980 as well. And being an alumni and being back in this basketball program meaning so much to me, it means a lot that we recognize those that came before us. And I think that's long overdue to recognize Coach Finnegan, but we're going to do it, and we're going to do it right tomorrow night. So come on out if you're in the area. And then what I'm expected to see from our team, what we've been practicing, is just being ready to play from the tip. we are going as hard as we can. What Trent said, 84 for 32, like just being ready to take whatever Rising Sun throws at us. That's what's hard about these early games. Yeah. You don't have any game tape to go off of. You just kind of put together what you can from what a team did last year, and that's even more different with me not having this schedule last year, being with Martinsville. So that's where I've had to really rely on Seth Couch, my JV coach, to help get us ready. And he put us through some scout stuff today that I think is really going to help us. So just being ready to take whatever Rising Sun throws at us, bounce it off tomorrow is more about what we want to do versus what Rising Sun throws at us.
Excellent. Trent? Jets travel to Brown County tomorrow night. What are you focused on with your team?
Yeah, I want to set a great tone for the season. I think, as Brad mentioned, the early season games, when you don't have a ton of film to go off of, a full scouting report of personnel, it's more about you, and I think controlling the controllables tomorrow is really important. That's our attitude, effort, how hard we're playing, and defensively, we can control how well we defend, how well we're in a stance, how well we rebound and how we emphasize those things. And I want to get out and play in transition and start dominating the pace of the game early from the jump. That sets a good tone, not only for game one, but for your season. So really excited. It's a road trip for us. So we had a good road trip up to Eastern Hancock Saturday for a scrimmage. Got to get through the road game routine. We're excited about doing that. The real deal tomorrow, 7:30 at Brown County for the varsity game, and we're looking forward to having a great crowd there.
I think what Trent would agree with on that stuff, that it's easy to play really hard and be ready to go for those first 3 or 4 possessions of the game. But can you set yourself apart, and can you be locked in and ready to go for that same possession, midway through the second quarter or with 5 minutes to go in the game? That's when we really need everybody to stay on the same page.
And I know then you both turn around Saturday. Trent, you're traveling back home then. You'll be at Columbus North. Both games on the road. So you're traveling just across county to Columbus North. A big game with a big school, and I know everyone's excited about that. Brad, you're going to be on the road for the first time at Franklin County, an EIAC and sectional opponent. So as you're thinking about that, I also want to give you a chance to talk about some of the guys you're counting on to lead your ball clubs this season. So Brad, tell us about this still somewhat young but actually experienced group of South Dearborn Knights that are going to be on the floor.
It's a very dynamic group of athletes, and as athletic of a group as I've ever been around as a coach in, the 10-ish years that I've been doing this. And that starts at the top with Scout Gray being our ball handler, and Scout's a junior, but he doesn't play like it and he doesn't lead like it. He's somebody that's a vocal leader every day in practice, a guy that I know is going to do what I ask of him. And it's kind of like what Trent said, point guard can't have a bad day. And Scout understands that. He realizes that, and that's something that's really valuable for us. Also going through, you got Tyler Christian and Wyatt Adams, 2 football wide receivers that are just as explosive on the basketball court as well, and they're just crazy playmakers, again, with the athleticism. Maybe you don't think that they should be able to do some of the things that they do, and that makes us a really fun team to watch. Mason Hamlet is a leader just committed to play Division I baseball at University of Southern Indiana, so really excited for him to be able to do that, but another guy that is just an everyday leader. We also bring back Elliot Meek, played a lot of JV minutes last year, but I've been so impressed with him and just the improvements that I've been told that he's made that I can see just since I've been able to work with him a little bit. So he's a senior that provides leadership. Ben Shorten, another senior who came to us from Rising Sun, and is that's a big game for Ben to open up with as well. But just another dynamic guy. Mason Lane, we get back. Mason did not play last season, but is going to play this year, and he's a big body on the football field, and Big Daddy does a lot of good things for us out here, as he's affectionately known to his teammates. And then just other guys that really help our program. Zach Cassini, day in and day out, is just a really good presence to have on the floor. Grady Walter, the same way. Brennan Lang. Riker Morris has been injured, but it's just, you got to have guys like that on your team that are willing to accept the roles that they've been given, and your role is whatever the team needs you to do. And so far I have seen guys willing to buy into those roles in practice.
Excellent. Thanks for all that, Brad. Appreciate you running down a little bit of your roster. Trent, you lost some significant contributors to the Jets last season, but you also return a very talented group of guys for this year's squad. Talk about the Jets.
Yeah, the senior class last year, phenomenal, and we lose 3 of our leading scorers with that group, but we're fortunate to bring back 4 of our top 8 guys from that rotation. That starts with 3 guys, seniors, who have been playing varsity basketball since their freshman year, and the experience you just can't replicate. And that starts with Stryker Gill. Stryker was 8 assists per game last year as a junior. He's 1A All-State. Just the best decision maker I've seen with the basketball since I've been coaching. He's a 5-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, 223 assists, was good for first in the state of Indiana last year, which was really impressive. So a floor general like striker leading the way. Combine that with Gavin Keller, another 4-year varsity player. Gavin has a chance to be the best two-way player in Southern Indiana this year. I think from the experience he's had this offseason, the summer he had playing a really, really tough AAU circuit, he's grown, he's gotten stronger, he's the best defender that I've had the ability to coach, and his offensive game has been matching that this summer and this offseason. He's put in a ton of work. So excited about Gavin and the senior year he set himself up for. Cameron Blair, another 4-year varsity player. He's a 3-sport all-conference athlete with baseball and tennis as well. Cam's one of the most dynamic players, can guard 1 through 5 and can play 1 through 5. So those 3 guys leading the way in terms of all the experience they have. You throw in Waylon Harper, who got extensive varsity minutes last year. He's back in the rotation, playing a much bigger role for us, a phenomenal shooter. And then getting into last year's JV team, we were fortunate to have a 19-1 JV team and guys who kind of paid their dues in practice and working with that JV team. Starting off with Joel Bechtel, who's grown to 6'6" and gives us a really nice interior presence, and he's going to do his best to fill the void that Colin Buck gave us, but maybe in a different way. Just Joel using his length and his finishing ability, his passing ability, comes from a great basketball family. Bill Miller and Tyler Dywert are 2 juniors last year on our JV team who now move up as seniors to the varsity team, who are ready to step into those roles, have had great off seasons. They're basketball-only guys, so they've been in the gym with me a ton throughout their career, and just great dudes who have worked hard and have earned the right for this opportunity. And then we have 2 guys coming back to the program who did not play last year but come back as seniors, in RJ Foster, who's 6'3". He's going to be a college baseball player next year and just gives us an awesome jolt of athleticism offensively and defensively. And then Jake Barriger, who played quite a bit as a freshman and sophomore, back with us, high basketball IQ. So there's really 9 guys who have put in a ton of work, who are ready to step into a really, really cool opportunity for a great season. A lot of hard work's been put in. We're excited to tip it up here tomorrow night.
Just a couple final questions. We're coming up against the top of the hour here, so we got to wrap things up pretty quickly. But let me ask you this. What's one thing that you each really admire about the other one as a coach? Your mom will be glad I asked you this. You got to talk nicely about each other for a minute here.
I really appreciate the way that Trent prepares. And I think that he prepares as well as any coaches I've ever been around. I got to help him with some of the preparation in the postseason last year once Martinsville was knocked out of the sectional, and helped Trent, get prepped on the scouting side for the regional opponent, semi-state, and just seeing, how seriously he takes it, and being able to attend some of his practices at that time too. And that, his teams are focused and they know how to have fun too. So that was something I admired about his teams.
And we had a great Liberty Christian and Clay City scouting report ready to go because of Brad in that semi-state if we had gotten there. So I do appreciate all the help that went into that run last year. For Brad, it's definitely the way the players respond to him as a coach. I think it's been something I've got to see firsthand working under him as a 7th grade assistant, but even just being on staff with him at Edgewood on the varsity team, and attending so many games of his as a JV coach, seeing the way the guys respond to Brad's leadership, how they're excited to play for him, how well he interacts with him and the other coaches on his staff. I think that's something we both strive to do, but I've gotten to see the players and the way they respond to Brad's leadership, and it's always been really positive. Brad came in and helped out with our scout team last year while Martinsville season had ended, as we were preparing for the semi-state, and it was as well as they had done all year. And I had a lot of those JV guys, even Coach Razor, our JV coach, who was saying, man, he was great. He was awesome, having us prepared and having the sets ready to go, and the guys really responded well to him. So I think that's a strength of his that's going to South Dearborn community is going to see it this year for sure.
Well, we've talked about doing a Coach Moorhead podcast in the future. So based on how this has gone, do we still think that's a good idea?
It's great. The people would love it.
We'll sell some ads. We'll get some sponsors.
We would love it. I don't know if anybody else would love it, but
we have a great time.
Finally, and we got to wrap up here, you're not just young coaches, you're both now husbands and fathers. How about you each give a shout out to my daughters-in-law and my grandchildren, who I love very dearly.
Absolutely. They actually hung out today. Yeah. They spent a lot of, and this is the kind of day that, you get into in the coach families that I haven't been home yet today. Trent hasn't been home yet since we left for school. So we're just so appreciative of them allowing us to chase dreams like this. My wife, Haley, and my 13-month-old son, Miller, and unborn daughter right now, as well as Haley's pregnant, just so thankful to her. And, it's a big deal that we moved towns and moved a couple hours away to come back to my hometown. That was a big undertaking, but she supported me the whole way, supports me right now, being here, doing all this stuff. So she's just fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I got to shout out my wife, Bree, our 2-month-old baby girl, Juliet, who I know they were on the car, so I think they're listening, or if not, watching. But yeah, to echo what Brad says, the support has been amazing at home. Bree rides the emotional wave with me, but also is the one who can keep me level when I get home. But she feels the losses and she feels the wins just like I do. And it's been really special to have her along for the ride and to have her with the journey, and now having Juliet along as well. I think we're both really excited about it. So it's been great.
And keep in mind, nothing's more important. No win, no loss is more important than the wife and the children back at home, and help that give you some perspective. Like I hope I had that perspective back when you guys were younger as well. Well, coaches Brad and Trent Moorhead, I can't thank you each enough for taking some time away from your families and being here this evening to join me here on Coach's Corner. Good luck to the Knights and to the Jets this season. I can't wait for all of our post-game conference calls that we'll have after these games throughout the course of the season. We're going to have a good time. So what a great episode of Coach's Corner this has been this evening. Our thanks to Aaron Garrett, Kevin Moore, and Brad and Trent Moorhead for joining us. I'll be back as guest host for next week's edition of Coach's Corner as well by Ison's Family Pizza. Between now and then, we have a great lineup of sports for you on WRBI. Tonight, as soon as we close, momentarily, we'll be joining the Indiana Pacers in progress as they take on the Detroit Pistons. Tomorrow night, the Turkey Shootout live from Jacksonville as the South Ripley Raiders take on the Eagles. In the tip-off of the boys' basketball season, it'll be Steve Geesting and Coach Bob Meyer with airtime around 7:15. Wednesday, the Pacers will be in Toronto taking on the Raptors with airtime at 7 o'clock. And on Friday, live coverage of the Batesville Bulldogs and Jacksonville Eagles lady basketball teams in girls basketball action beginning at 7:15 with the Indiana Pacers and the Washington Wizards after that in progress. And Saturday night, we'll cover the boys basketball matchup between the Jacksonville Eagles and Batesville Bulldogs with airtime at 7:15, followed by the Indiana Pacers taking on the Chicago Bulls, which we will join in progress. That'll do it from here. Thank you so much to our on-site engineer, Andy Nunley, as well as Brent Lee for running the board back in the studio. And as always, thank you to Ison's Family Pizza for hosting Coach's Corner. Until next time, this is Rob Moorhead saying thank you so much for listening and have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Listen Monday nights at 6 for Coach's Corner with Rob LaFerry, live from Ison's Family Pizza. Come check out the show in person or listen on 103.9 FM or the WRBI app. And now you can also watch the show happen live at WRBI-TV.com or on our Facebook page. From Southeastern Indiana's local sports voice, WRBI Batesville, Greensburg, Brookville, Versailles.